Thank you.
There's something different. What is different about it? Looks great. I mean, that sounds like it doesn't look great normally, right? I'm just
I don't
saying,
know. It's different every day kind of thing, but I just
look,
combed it. And
you look very nice.
thank
You
you.
good, David? Yep. You good, Barb?
I think so. I'm ready.
I'll count us down in three. Whoops. I'll count us down in three, two, one. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority. Barb Schlinker. Barb is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb is also a pilot, and she and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or search Barb and most of the podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Barb, what's in store for today's show?
Well, Richard, as always, I'm excited about today's show because we're going to talk about some things that I get the most questions for, like how do you sell your home for the most money? What do you do to prepare your home for the most money? What are some of the top questions that home sellers should be asking before they put their house up for sale? Some people just pick an agent because they know them. That's the only reason. And then we're also going to talk about design improvements that may or may not increase the value of your home. And one of them I know for a fact is very controversial. And then the fourth thing is why most agents don't focus on marketing when selling homes. And the reason I'm talking about this is I see it all the time. I'm constantly looking at homes for sale and looking at other agents marketing. And I'm like, God, they just use their cell phone to take pictures. Why are they doing that? Anyway, that's what I see all the time. Yet I know the buyers are out there eliminating homes based on the pictures. So you really can't mess that part up, or you should not mess that part up when you're putting your home on the market. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings, Richard.
Now, Barb, in this market, there are many more homes that are not selling. So, what are the five keys to get the most money when selling your home?
Well, Richard, I regularly check the market statistics to see what's going on, but I also have my finger on the pulse on what's going on based on the homes that I have on the market and the showing activity and the feedback and how these agents, when they give feedback, what are they saying about how my listing competes with other listings? That gives me a lot of really good information about what's going on in the market right now. And what we're seeing overall, countywide, just looking at El Paso County, but the counties around it are fairly similar, is that what we've seen in the past years are prices are relatively flat. Now we will get a what I call a bell curve typically through the summer. You see more homes go on the market, you see the prices that appear to rise. But the truth is, what just happened is we noticed that all of a sudden, since May, we've had a big surge in the number of available homes. So guess what? You have more competition. That means there's less demand for more homes. So you really have to make sure your home is positioned to attract all the buyers that would want a home like yours. Inventory is up by far. Rent is still very, very expensive. And the prices are kind of flat right now. It's kind of weird. Mortgage rates also, that's another thing that drives a lot of buyers in terms of affordability. I just put one of my properties under contract yesterday, and it was pretty exciting to see that the buyer had almost 100,000 to put down. I was very impressed by that. So this person definitely saved their money and prepared to be a homeowner, which is unfortunately what a lot of the first time home buyers have to do right now because interest rates have more than doubled since 2022. And there are some buyers that are sitting on the sideline. Well, let's wait until A, the rates come down, which it really isn't happening, or B, the prices come down, and that's not happening either. So people that are pivoting and finding a solution instead of just waiting for it to happen are the smartest ones, because if you look at the values of real estate over the long term, it goes up in value. It doesn't stay stagnant. Price is relatively stable in the past year, but I'm showing you the bell curve right now about the median list price. It tends to drop down in the winter and peak out in the summer. That's very common year over year. But I think the biggest mistake that buyers are making right now is they're deciding to sit on the sidelines. They're waiting for the rates to fall. And it just hasn't happened. I mean, last year in the springtime, the rates were actually dropped down into the low sixes for a short while. And man, oh man, prices just jumped up really quickly as soon as that happened. And now what's happening is the rates are they went up a little bit in the spring. Now they've retracted back into the low sevens. Maybe you can get mid to upper sixes for the government loans, but it is not changing the average asking price for a home. The only thing that's changed so far is the number of available homes has increased, which means that each home seller has to compete more and more for their buyer. So in general, rules of thumb are that as the rates go up, the inventory goes up. Well, that's not happening either. So the rates have gone up and the inventory is going up, except that we're just seeing a drop in demand. So if the rates fall, inventory definitely will fall, because as the buyers reach that point where buying that home is more affordable to them, they're going to get off the sidelines. But right now, it's just been kind of a weird market, and I don't know why. We're seeing big surge in inventory. Rates are kind of staying the same. So maybe people are just tired of waiting to sell, and they realize that, hey, if they're sitting on that really low interest rate that they refinanced into a couple years back, and they've got 2 or 3 or even 4% mortgage, guess what? It's not you can't take that mortgage with you, as one of my clients said. He goes, I'll let them assume it. I can't take it with me. But the rates are more than double that, and you have to just adjust to what the market is doing right now. So what we're going to go into in this segment are the 5 keys to thrive, and the way you get the most money when you sell your home. We're also going to talk about some of our guarantees that we have that can make the whole process a lot simpler for a home seller, because it's not a simple thing that we're asking people to do. People don't sell homes every single day, and everything changes. The market changes, the buyer demand changes, the competition changes. There's a lot of factors that they have to deal with on top of getting their home prepared for sale. So I would say the number one tip is try to be the best home on the block in every way, in price, in condition, in how it looks, curb appeal, because you know what's going to happen. People are going to drive by and they're going to stalk your house. What they do first is they look at homes online. If they like what they see from the online presentation, they leave their fuzzy bunny slippers and they get in the car and they drive by. If they still like what they see, then they will find a way to try to get in to see the home. And it has to look like the best deal and the best home for the money. That's absolutely key in every respect. And that's why curb appeal is so important. This morning I was pulling similar sales for somebody that I'm getting ready to meet with shortly. And the thing that struck me in the current competition against that house, and I actually took that house off the list, was that the curb appeal of this home that was on the market was awful. The yard was half dead. It looked terrible. Yet when you looked at the inside pictures, it looked really nice. It's like there are people that will turn their nose up at just that outside picture and not come see that home. That is why this advice is so important. The second key to thrive is make sure you hire an agent that knows how to create demand. Not all agents know what they're doing, especially when it comes to marketing. Photos are absolutely critical. And I will tell you that, there are some rules that we have to abide by with our local MLS, like you have to have the outside front picture first. Although I've seen some people not behave and they don't get busted. I get busted for every single listing. So I'm just getting used to it. But we know, okay, we have to pick the right photo to attract the buyer. So, I saw one yesterday. I was looking through. I'm like, oh my God, this agent just posted 15 pictures of the outside before I ever get to the inside. If you only have 57 seconds to make an impression, guess what? After the first 5 photos, they are moving on to the next house. So they just don't study this. We know that buyers eliminate homes based on the photos. A bad photo would be clutter on the counters, rugs on the floor. Make sure your shower curtain is not closed because the assumption is there's mold back there. Don't take a picture of the kitty litter box, please. Guess what? That's absolutely going to turn off some buyers. So those are just some ideas. And marketing is not just the multiple listing service. We already have buyers. We have a database of over 27,925 buyers just on our little website looking for homes. Typically, we could match at least 700. So to make sure you get your home on the must-see list, okay, and that your home gets in line for those buyers to come and look at it, you have to be the best home on the block. And we have all kinds of solutions for our home sellers, including our trade up program, including our multiple cash offer program. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how to sell the home for the most money. And when we're going to come back, we're going to talk about what home sellers should do to win and get their home sold in this summer of 2024 with 33% more available competition on the market. Richard?
We're talking with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can reach Barb at 719-301-3900. We've highlighted 3 of the 5 keys to maximizing your sale price when you're selling your home. Be the best home on the block, create demand with aggressive marketing, and solve buyer problems. So, Barb, tell us more about the last 2.
Well, number 4 is negotiating. And I know you've heard me talk about it before, Richard, but agents are just not trained on how to negotiate. Just last week, I had some agent, basically throw down the gauntlet. We're 4 weeks into the contract. We're waiting for a repair to be done, which was also mandated by the buyer's appraiser. And all of a sudden, oh, our interest rate lock is going to expire. So the lender sends a letter going, oh, it's going to cost more money to extend the lock. And then the agent sends an email and says, if we don't get an extra $3,500, we're walking. Well, guess what the seller said? Bye-bye. We'll get another buyer. That's not negotiating. You don't set up on a win-lose scenario, right? And so, of course, the buyer had a change of heart, said, well, I really want the house. Then I talked to the lender and I said, why in the heck are you doing an interest rate lock extension right now anyway? The rates were higher a few weeks ago. They're lower now. What the heck do you need that for? And she didn't have an answer for me. I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on out there, but I think sometimes people just don't think, and some agents think it's their job just to get stuff. So they're not trained on negotiating. Had they asked nicely, we might have been able to engage in a conversation. And number 5, and most of all, is pricing the home to sell. Do not, people think that, well, if I price it way up here, they'll make an offer for negotiating room. That will not happen. Buyers won't even come see it if it's priced too high. You have to be the best deal on the market because price, just that alone, is going to repel a lot of buyers. You want to price it to attract buyers. And we know exactly how to do that. So part of our services are giving you a free in-home consultation on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, show you all of the buyers that we have, show you all of our cash buyers, and how much you'll put in your pocket. So if you have interest in giving us a call, you can call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker. This is the Real Estate Voice Show. She is with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can always reach Barb 719-301-3900. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the top questions that home sellers should ask before putting their home up for sale. Stay tuned for that. There you go.
I talked too much there. Sorry.
Yeah, he's as always, he's shaking
Got
his
me.
head to say no, no, no big deal. I should be clear about why he's shaking his head. It's to say no big deal. All
We'll
right.
make it work.
Yeah.
Thank you, DJ.
Of course.
All right. I'm going to make this noisemaker be quiet.
Yay.
Hmm. Did you like that story, Richard?
I did. I mean, I have to say, I think your stories are one of the best things that you bring to the table because I can't imagine, I just no offense, but I think this would be kind of not boring, but just too much technical information.
Yeah.
Whereas your insight and your opinions, especially when it comes to photo stagings and things like that, plus the stories, I just think it's a big asset to the show.
Thank you.
My
I mean,
opinion.
it's people kind of remember, they tell me they remember the stories.
Yes.
This is my life. Every single day, I'm just, I use the British term, gobsmacked
Yep.
at the stuff these agents do because they're not trained. It's terrible.
And I don't see it getting any better.
No, it'll get worse.
Yeah.
But it's fun. This is my venting time.
No, it's all right. I mean, I was covering something at city council yesterday, and one of the guys was complaining about how stressful it is, and you get this input and that, and then somebody critiques you and all this, and it went over. I'm sure with virtually everybody in the room is like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? You knew what you signed up for, and nobody forced you to come in here and take this job. You're the one who wanted it. And what did you think? That everybody's just going to love you and it's going to be a big kumbaya moment no matter what you say or do?
No, I'm probably the most hated real estate agent in town.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that I'm endorsing the most agent in town.
I am.
They hate you
Oh,
because they ain't you.
yeah, I know. But I'm just, it's like, oh, she's trouble. That's because I don't let them get by with stuff. But there's some that I get along with just fine. It just depends on if they behave or not. So,
Well, and like I said, early on, I shared with you that there are, I think, 2 or 3 people, and I got one big file folder with all of this evidence of just how horrible you were, and
yeah.
Richard, you're making a big mistake by endorsing this woman and all that stuff. You know what? No offense to her, I didn't even look through the stuff. I just, you know what? It's almost like Dave Donaldson. There's a certain amount of jealousy that comes with you doing what you do. And I think my thing, and I know we need to get going, I'll just say it real quickly. My thing is, instead of being jealous of you or your show or all of this stuff, take a tip from her, learn how to be more like her, and you'll get the same reaction, response, success, whatever. There's no reason to be jealous. I mean,
That's way too much work. I'm sorry.
well, that is the problem. Yeah. Are you willing
Well,
to
and I heard your show this morning. I didn't realize, Richard, people threaten you. That is, yeah. It's tough to let that roll off your back.
I'll tell you what, and I'll never say this on the air, but I'm not going to let them. I don't think people actually want to hurt me. I think they just want to scare me. Because I wouldn't be surprised if I do get shot from here to the parking lot, but I'm really not afraid of that. I mean, I'm ready to go. I've had a great life. I don't want to die of cancer. I don't want to, lie in anguish in the parking lot for 14 hours, make it quick, get it over with. And that does not scare me. So you can't scare me with that crap. What they don't know is if the threat involved my kids, that's a different story.
That's a totally different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's off.
You just can't give in to these people. And like I said, I think I don't think they're serious. I think they just want to scare me. Now, if I do come up Epstein, it'll be because I've been bashing on all of these developers who spent, $500,000 on, this council race and, the mayor's race. Apparently, The
So
wood
we need to
was,
look down the well. That's
yeah.
where.
Well, because apparently, it was well known before this last mayoral election, if you wanted to be seriously considered for mayor, you're going to probably have to have about $1 million. And so now where do you get, I mean, I endorse Lajinas Gonzalez, but where are you going to get $1 million? Oh, that would be from the developers. And so I don't know. I'm just too old to be afraid. All right, I got a clock. I got a producer. I got the talent over there. I am ready. Barb,
I'm ready.
three, two, three, two, one. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, I know many people ask you questions when getting ready to sell their homes. So what are the top questions that home sellers should be asking before they put their home up for sale?
Well, Richard, it is sort of like interviewing somebody for a job. The typical time that it takes to have a house go on the market and have it sell and close is at least 90 days, right? You're going to spend a lot of time with this person. There's going to be a lot of communication, interface, and most people don't interview people for jobs. So I would say a lot of people don't know what to say. They don't know what to ask. And right now, the way the market is, unless your home is priced what I call very realistically, especially in this environment where there's 33% more available homes on the market and more than 30% fewer buyers in the buyer population who can manage these higher payments with the higher interest rates, it's easy to make a mistake. And I hear from people all the time. They call me and go, "Oh, well, I've got my house on the market and it's not selling." I look at the pictures and go, this is an easy fix. Just because they're not trained on how to properly present it to the market. So it says, in the stats that it's a seller's market, but only if these three things are in place. It's priced properly, it's properly prepared to go on the market, and it's promoted properly. And pricing is key. We put a home on the market just last weekend that was priced properly, very much so. We know that similar homes would probably have sold for 25,000 more than that recently. However, this home, it has a little bit of color preference, not necessarily. It is neutral, but just instead of, neutral beige, it's another color. And it hasn't been exquisitely remodeled, like every bathroom has been redone. And even with that, we had a great turnout at the open house. I definitely had multiple offers. It sold for over asking price. But even with that, there were some agents that their buyers gave feedback saying, "Oh, well, the bathrooms aren't updated enough," and and it's just like, because of HGTV, there is the expectation that they not only get a discount, but everything's been remodeled on top of it, which is over the top and ridiculous. But it depends on what your competition looks like. And that is where you really have to deep dive into what your competition looks like and put your buyer hat on before you decide where you're going to price a home. So let's start with some of the questions that a home seller should be asking an agent. Number one, and I do get this question all the time, how do I prepare my home before I sell it? We do this every week, multiple times a week. We come out, we take a grand tour, we take a look at it. We're going to give you tips on what to do, what not to do, give you a really good idea of the price range it'll sell, and of course, how much you put in your pocket when it sells. And you don't have to do anything. I have some sellers that opt not to repair a single thing, but there's a different price for that. You have to price it for an as-is sales price. And even then, you're going to get some feedback of some buyers saying, "Oh, it needs too much work." I'm like, yeah, but it's priced more than 100,000 below market value. That's why it is. And those kind of properties, typically, I will get, 5 to 10 offers and they will go over asking. Number two question, how much is my house worth? Well, during the boom just 2 years ago, you know, every home was selling. Now, not every home is selling. Okay, that's point number one about that. And at that time, it was tough for buyers because they all had to come in above asking price just to compete. And even then, many times they could not compete with the cash real estate investor buyers that were offering 5,000 over the highest price, going way up above market value because they could, and they did. But those investors stepped their offers way back. I have some of those investors. Some of those offers are pretty good. Some are not. And so it's the market that decides how much your home is going to sell for. It doesn't matter what an appraiser says. It doesn't matter what Zillow says. It doesn't matter what a similar home is sold for. It's all about what the market decides about your home at this time. And we actually sit down and provide you very empirical data. So it becomes your decision. It is the seller's decision on where they're going to price their home. And sometimes they want to go on the market and wait it out if it's not the right price at the time, and that's okay. There are some sellers that want a quick sale. They don't want to deal with all the chaos of, people showing, people leaving doors unlocked, people using the restrooms, people leaving lights on. What else happens? People not being able to get their loan, people canceling their deal at the last minute. This kind of thing goes on all the time. So there are some sellers that will take a price cut just to have that certainty that they know that they're going to go to the finish line. We just had a client just 2 weekends ago. We went on the market. We had 50 people at the open house. We got 7 offers, and it sold for $50,000 over asking price. Now, the reason that happened, 2 reasons, 3 reasons. Condition was amazing. Perfect condition home, great location, fabulous views, priced very aggressively. It made all the buyers go, I want it, and they made their best offer. That is the perfect storm. And initially, I think her neighbor said, no, I think that number is too low. But we got to that high price number that they wanted. But had we priced it at the high number, we wouldn't have gotten it. So this empirical data is really important because the home seller has to know what the competition looks like. And I've actually met with home sellers that just fired their agent and they said, wow, we never saw any of this stuff before. So there's some agents just go in and go, oh, your house is worth this much. This is where you should list it without showing them anything. Sign here. That is their listing presentation, which to me is just malpractice. I think people work a lot better if they understand what's going on. Everything's out there on the internet. They can see their Zillow's estimate. They can see what's selling around it. They understand what's going on in the market, but they just don't do this every day. It also requires, to get the most money, the perfect setup, preparation, getting the house ready, pricing it right, and promoting it right. All those key things have to be done. So number 3 question is, how long will it take to sell my home? Well, it depends. I mean, there's some people that just use their house like a money machine and they'll price it really high and the market's going to react. It's going to tell you right away if you didn't get it right. If it's prepared right and if it's priced right, it's more than likely to get a contract within 10 to 14 days. Right now, the average days on market is 38 days, median days on market 63, but making a mistake with pricing could mean that you may not get a contract right away, but you can always make adjustments after that. And right now, more than half of the sellers are putting their home on the market high and then adjusting the price. The problem with that is that all of the excitement of the first 10 to 30 days on the market of that buyer population going, oh, here's something new, let me check this out, is gone. You lost that initial demand. That's why pricing is so critical. And then, sometimes if you're getting offers when you put your house on the market and they have too many strings attached, like maybe a house to sell or something like that, or asking for a lot of closing costs, that can trip home sellers up. So I just had offers I presented last week where the buyer came in above asking, but asked for closing costs. And even though the net was pretty close to the same for the seller, she didn't like that idea. So some sellers don't like it, but I have to go focus on the net. What's that bottom line? So I showed them, gave her empirical data to make a good decision. And deals can get very complicated. So you really want somebody that has the expertise to handle that if they do. Another question is, do you help with staging or helping me prepare the home to look right? And that could be a lot of different things. It could be virtual staging. It could be in-home staging. It could be just moving your furniture around. I met with a seller where when we took the picture of her living room, she had a couch, a love seat, and a love seat. And it was just too much. It kind of closed down the living room, made it look too crowded. So the stager said, hey, take that out. And it looked so much better when you did that. And you don't want your house to be eliminated based on the online presentation. So that's why a seller should be asking that question. What are you going to do to help me get my home sold? My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. So what we're talking about are the top questions home sellers should be asking when getting their house ready for sale. And next up, we're going to cover some more questions that might be important to you. So if you are thinking of making a move, yes, I still am getting bidding wars on my listings. It depends on whether or not the seller aligns all the stars to make that happen. It's not automatic these days. It has to be pricing, preparation, and promotion. The inventory is pretty high right now. It's 33% higher than it was, but we have our own buyers. Right now we have 27,924 buyers just on our database of Buyers Plus. We can typically command up to 700. That will be a high match for your home. So if you are thinking of moving, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the top questions that a home seller should ask when getting ready to sell their home. Everyone knows that I've been recommending you for years now. Tell us, what are some of the key questions that a home seller should ask from real estate agents?
Okay, this is going to be a hard question. So this one, how does a home seller pick a real estate agent for themselves? First of all, 80% of the agents get out of the business every 5 years. And we expect a lot more to leave with this whole change of the commission no longer being offered in the MLS. 81% of the agents sell 3 or less homes a year. I just saw some data of some of the big box brokerages. I would say almost across the board, the average of all of the agents in the big box brokerages sell 4 homes a year. And that's called a top producer. If they're only selling a home once a quarter, what do they know about what the market is doing? What do they know about marketing? What do they know about negotiation? So a good question would be, how many homes did you sell in the last year? And the hardest question for most agents to ask is, why should we pick you over any other option? Because agents are out there, they are selling their souls just to get listings. They'll do it for a couple $100. You know, you can definitely get a wide variety, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day if your house doesn't sell. You need somebody that gets you the results that you need. And so on our website, we're offering a free report that you could download at any time. It actually comes with 4 other reports about questions you should ask and how you evaluate a real estate agent when you sell. Just go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on the green button, and they'll all be right there for you, and we'll send them out to you. Another question is, what's my home value? Well, again, it's the seller's decision on valuation, but you want to make sure that you're pricing it right. Don't just go with the agent that said, oh, I can get you more money for your home because, you know, they don't know. They're just saying that to try and get in the door. Another really good question a lot of people worried about is being committed to a long-term agreement. So one of the things that we do as a company is we offer a cancellation guarantee. If you're not happy and you are not happy with our services, you can cancel anytime. So we don't hold people to agreements. We want satisfied customers. And then there's many more, and these are all covered by these free reports that you can download. Or if you are thinking of making a move and want to give us an interview, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Or if you want a free report, top 10 questions to ask before you hire a real estate agent, visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Go to the green button. It'll be in the upper right-hand corner. It says free report. Click it there. When we come back, we'll be discussing what home improvements may not increase your home's value. Stay tuned. You want to hear that.
Okay.
I am dying with my teeth.
Oh no, what's going on?
Well, no, a couple of months ago, I don't even like Milky Ways or whatever the hell those things are.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I need a little bit of energy. I go back and I buy
You had a Snickers that day.
Snickers, that's what it was. And I bit into it. I had cracked a tooth at a graduation party in high school.
Oh.
And it lasted from then until, like, I don't know, 3 years ago. Went in, had those removed because the crack was getting more noticeable, had some crowns put in, bit into the damn Snickers, and it pulled both of my crowns off.
Ow.
Okay. The problem is
Was it frozen?
no, it was just gooey.
Oh yeah.
And so the problem is to have everything done, it's going to be, they're like, you're not gonna be able to talk very well for, probably at least 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. And I'm like, that's what I do. I can't come in here and do a show if I can't talk.
Yeah.
So I have to wait until probably after the election. And it's awkward. It's uncomfortable. It looks like hell. It's embarrassing. And what's that?
They won't do a temporary crown?
Well, I got one, and it's okay. It's okay. Except there's a problem, and that is about 2 weeks ago, I lost it. So I'm having them make another one. It's such a pain in the butt because the temporary one, it's awkward to talk. If I take it out, it's better to talk, but you still get a blast of air coming through my teeth. It's just annoying.
Oh, that doesn't.
I'm bitching and moaning. It's just.
I'm telling you, nothing better than being pain-free,
You know what? I got to tell you that.
My stomach was upset that when we were heading down to, I shouldn't tell the story. We're heading down to California.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm in pain. Let's stop. We're just passing a Pueblo Maggie's thing. And I said, let's stop. Let's get some, because I don't smoke anything. It's horrible for it. But I got the little liquid drops.
Right. Do they help?
Well, I didn't do it right. So I took it, waited an hour, nothing. Waited another hour, took it again, not much. Finally, I took the extra strength stuff. Oh my God. I was so ripped, stoned.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
I lost my keys. Mark was just laughing at me. He goes, you did it to yourself. You should have quit downing that stuff. And I'm like, it's not working.
Well, but I would do the same thing. I would have no clue about how to do this. Well, I'm not speculating. My daughter has told me that, she has done that from time to time, but now she gets tested. She was working at a biolab. She got tested there. She's going to medical school, but she's working. So she gets tested all the time. My son does as well, except he's never done it. I mean, it's just the way he is. He's never done it in high school because both of them were athletes. They tested them randomly in high school. I get randomly tested from my doctors, and my wife gets randomly tested from, her medical things. But and I think she wrote about it. So Michelle Malkin and her husband, when it first was legalized, they had driven down to Pueblo, and I can't remember for sure. I think it was edibles. And I think it was almost the same thing where they, took some of them and nothing, took some more. And it's like, I don't know, maybe am I imagining that I'm catching a little bit of a buzz, or am I actually doing it? And then, took some more, and all of a sudden, boom, it hits. So I think that's probably fairly common.
We stopped at the hotel, and of course, Mark likes to park as far away as he can. And I'm like, I can't walk that far. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I was just really affected by it. And I didn't like the way I felt either. It was made me nauseous. It's horrible. I was like, oh, I won't do that again. I'd
Yeah.
rather have a glass of wine or something, at least I know what that feels like, but
Well,
anyway.
I mean, that's what I told my kids. Early on, they're like, well, did you ever smoke pot? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I grew up in that era in high school and college, and the answer is yes. But I told them, I said, you know what? You get past that, and then you look back on it, and you're really not missing anything. I mean, you have a fondness that you think you were missing something, but then when you really think about it, it's like, okay, that was just kind of a waste of time. Go to class stoned and stuff like that.
I just didn't like the way I felt. I think that stuff is a lot stronger now than it was back
It
then.
is. Oh my God, it totally is. In fact, I remember John Suthers and the DEA having a big press conference to tell people that, because when they were selling this, it was like, well, this is whatever. And he's like, this is not your father's pot. This isn't what they were smoking, in those days. And you didn't have edibles and stuff like that. I don't remember the percentage, but it's significantly stronger than what they had. And they have all of the motivation in the world to make it stronger, hoping that people will buy it based on that. And then the truth is, apparently, because I couldn't understand why people would be selling pot illegally if you have legal pot. And the answer is it's better. Wait, why is it better? Well, because it's not just pot. They lace it with some other stuff that makes it better, but it also makes it addicting, whereas just regular pot isn't. And I'm like, okay, now I'm getting this. So
Yeah, I know about that. Thank
I
you.
don't know.
Yeah, it was what that taught me was okay. I think it maybe took the edge off. My brother uses it because he has problems with neuropathy. He had a back surgery, so he uses it medicinally in Florida.
Does it help him?
Yeah, it helps him sleep, I guess. But
Yeah.
I like no, no, thank you. I'll stick with my white wine.
Well, I mean, the truth is, I know if I wasn't getting tested, I think my wife probably as well. Not my son, but my daughter, all three of us probably would have done exactly what you did and probably came to the same conclusion. I
Yeah.
don't think we're, all that different. Wait, hang on a second here.
I threw it away, but
Hey.
Okay.
oh God. Hey, Cynthia. This is a listing agreement for the lot. Oh. He couldn't figure out how to electronically sign it. Oh, wow. Okay. We gotta get pictures for him. We gotta get pictures for Rio. Can you call the stager and just, hey, emergency staging, can she come out like Friday morning? We take pictures Friday afternoon. For high pasture? Yeah, no, well, high pasture, whenever we can get those done, but Rio is supposed to go on the market on Monday. Okay. And we've got the outside pictures. We'll probably reshoot the outside because all the lilies are blooming. Okay. But they need it inside, stage it outside. Okay, yeah, of course. Tracy's usually on top of it, so. Okay. Okay. Okay, awesome. Oh, I know what's wrong. I don't like the lighting. I know.
I was going to say something when you first started, but got distracted.
Nothing worse than those overhead tube lights. Oh, that's better.
It does look better.
Thank you. I don't know that many people watch the videos, but a lot of people listen.
So you don't get statistics on viewers or anything like that?
Um, I just don't, I probably should look at it. I can ask.
Well, I mean, if you were curious, that's the only reason I bring it up, not.
Ask him. Okay. Okay, I'm just asked him, I just messaged him, hey, how many people watch the show? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun to know.
Yeah, we try to make the titles searchable, what people are asking for. Like, I found out a really searchable one, which I might cover again next time is, why did my Zestimate go down? It's like, oh my God.
And stop, it's not to you. Okay, bye. I'm sorry, but you know what? I wanted her. It's the thing. I
To
wanted her.
see
Well, I
what
want
was going on.
She's a priority. I mean, you know what? She just that's her apartment. She's nervous and excited, and actually called me before her mom. And
Oh,
I just wanted her to know. You know what? I'm
We
working
like to
here,
be
but you're my
first.
priority. So I thank you guys for indulging me.
No,
we
it's
do
fine.
like to be first.
Yes.
So Griff said, what Griff does, he's in the Philippines,
Mhm.
is he says he takes out shorts, like little 1 minute, one little 1 minute segments where I got all passionate, I guess. And he says a few, but our shorts from the show are popular. Overall, from the platform, we get 30 to 50 listening to the whole thing, while our shorts
Okay.
get a few thousand views.
Those are
Whoa, hold on. Your shorts are what?
Get a few thousand views. The short, he'll take a short 1 minute
Yeah.
segment.
Yep. So let me tell you something. We have all this controversy with city council. You could watch it online yesterday. The highest number of online viewers they had was 51. And that's for a whole big controversy going on. So your numbers look incredibly good if you put it in that framework.
Yeah, I listened to the show this morning. That was interesting.
Oh my gosh.
It was a bit of inside baseball, and
And I was worried about that. It's some of these shows, I get bogged down in it. And I'm like, okay, is this? I'm glad you said that because I have actually been worried about that a little bit. Now I know that it is that, and I can act accordingly.
well, it was hard to follow it, but I kind of got the gist of it. That I had the same kind of smackdown that I get from real estate agents that I deal with all the time.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't let them get by with shit.
Yeah.
I just don't. And
You
if
know,
I,
the common denominator is you're both military. He's special forces. You're military. I think you
and
guys
if,
get a little bit hardened.
yeah, and it's just like, I know, party foul here. I
Yeah.
just had one where it hasn't closed yet, but you know, been threatening to sue me for 4 weeks, multiple times on email, on text, just on the phone. And I said, don't even talk to me anymore because you've never been through a lawsuit. Get out of my face. You know what you're talking about. And the
I just
problem was the seller, title company thought the seller couldn't deliver clean title, which was a mistake. We found out title made a mistake. It was all there all along. And finally, our side attorney said, oh, it's right here. And we're like, oh, boom. Okay. So it delayed the closing a couple weeks. But while we're waiting, the buyer's agent, we're suing. You're not performing. We could take you to court. And our corporate lawyers at Remax say we can do that. And I'm just, so when we found out, the truth was it was all there all along. Title got cleared up the moment it was pointed out to them, and we're good to go. You know, it's like you're telling me that it's okay for you to threaten a lawsuit against threaten taking somebody's assets away by in joining them in this crappy lawsuit like what Trump is going through.
right.
It's just wrong, and I won't put up with it. And I just the moment she did it, I cut her off and said, You're no longer allowed on my phone. You need to have your broker communicate with me. I asked her multiple times. She kept ignoring me, kept threatening, kept threatening. It's not okay. And so I kind of see that guy as he wasn't quite as aggressive as I was. He was probably more polite about, let me just call this to your attention. This could be perceived as a conflict of interest.
Right.
And they just attack. It's sort of like human nature right now, where if you call them on the carpet, rather than acknowledging that they made a mistake, which to this day that Beyonce hasn't apologized, she'll probably file an ethics complaint. Go, you can't talk to me that way. And I'm like, don't you dare go there. But I don't really care. The people that make decisions about ethics complaints are agents that sell one home, a year, and they sit on these boards, and they don't do real estate, right? So they don't know what they're talking about. So I don't give a crap anymore about what the National Association of Realtors Professional Standards Committee says about me. Because I know what I'm doing for my clients is right. And that's all I care about. And that's exactly what I heard from him. So I respect that.
The thing, I guess, bottom line is they don't know you any more than they don't know Dave Donaldson, because people, if they think they're going to intimidate you, they don't know you. I mean, it's just, they probably get away with a lot of that crap with a lot of people, but
yeah. And I told her broker, I said, just so you know, threatening to sue is not negotiating.
yeah, exactly. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
You might want to
That
pass
is
that on
really good.
to your agents.
Yeah.
And he's
I
like,
like that. I'm going to remember
like,
that.
why
Threatening
did
to
you-
sue is not negotiating.
he was mad at me for saying it though. It's like, oh, come on, Barb. I'm like, that's what he was doing.
Yep. Sorry if I called it the way I saw it, but
Oh boy. So they don't like that's why I'm hated. It's okay.
some, a lot of times if you do the right thing, that is what comes with it.
Yeah.
All right, I got a new clock, and I apologize for my daughter. I just,
Oh, don't apologize.
it was
We're
one
good.
of those dad moment
I-
kind of things.
I'm the one that's way late, and I hope things are working out well for her.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's call it in. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates. Let's do it again. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program and the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many of our listeners know you and your team are the only people that I would ever recommend, and you've been here in the market selling homes for a long time. What are some of the home improvements that could hurt a home's appraisal and, more importantly, home value?
Well, Richard, it's really interesting what some people think will enhance their home value. And, mostly buyers respond and react emotionally to the cosmetic stuff. So even though a homeowner might have put in some really substantial, high quality things kind of behind the walls, behind the scenes, they react to the cosmetics. Now they can see it if it's a light cosmetic rehab, like what I call lipstick and rouge rehab. They can see it if it's not quality, but it's just, certain things just don't make the buyer spend more money on a house. So we're going to talk about that. An opinion, let's talk about what is an appraisal, what is an opinion of value. Those are really two different things. An appraisal is a formal, written, 40-page document of a licensed person's opinion of what that home is worth. There's a whole certification for appraisals out there. And they are licensed by the state, and they're held to a pretty high standard. And overall, they do a really good job. But does that mean the buyer's going to pay what the opinion of value is? So sometimes I will get home sellers that'll go, well, should I get an appraisal first before I go on the market? My answer to that is no. I'm going to give them some really good empirical data so they can make a good decision on how to price their home to attract the right buyer. However, the appraisal, the purpose of the appraisal is merely to substantiate to the lender that the home is worth what the buyer agreed to pay and that it meets that type of loan guidelines. So, it could be that a buyer comes along and says, well, I'm getting a conventional loan, and maybe the seller went out and got a VA loan or vice versa. So it'd be a waste of money to get an appraisal. And it's just an opinion of value. And typically what happens if the buyer is getting a loan, their lender orders the appraisal and they only work with those appraisers that they've ordered. So if you get an independent one, it's just information. It may not help you. So who else gives opinion of value? Most of all, it's the buyers. If the buyer's willing to make an offer on your home, on that price or even above that price, that is really the most important vote that you get, okay? You don't have to accept any offer, even a full price offer, you do not have to accept. It really depends on the home seller circumstance. What are their other options? Like, I talked to one seller recently where they have a buyer interested that has a house to sell. Well, that's a possibility. If you don't have any other options, it's okay to consider that. So it really matters on how many offers you have on the table, what those offers look like. And if you don't have any offers on the table, it's okay. You've caught a fish, you got a buyer that wants to play, work with them. And we have ways of working with them where we protect the home seller from losing another would-be buyer if they cannot get their home sold. And so many people think that an appraiser says, well, if it's worth X, that a buyer must be willing to pay that amount. But that's not really true. The buyers don't care. An appraisal for a buyer is just something they have to pay for and get through in order to get their loan. And sometimes the appraisal will come in at more than what the contract price is. I recently sold a home where we initially priced it just below 370 because that's what identical similar sales had sold for. And we just weren't getting any action. So the seller's like, what do I do? I said, well, usually if you make a 4 to 5% price adjustment, you're going to get a buyer. So that's what she did. Boom, right away. We had competing offers and ended up selling for just about her asking price. But the appraisal came in at the same price as what we originally listed it at 370. Now they shouldn't have shared that with me, but because it's kind of disheartening to the seller because the seller's thinking, well, I left money on the table, but that's not true. We could not get an offer at that higher price. So we had to do something. And, that little bit of an opinion of value, the little bit of extra money that an appraiser thinks it's worth, you can't really do anything with because an appraisal is only valid for about 6 months. So it's just an opinion, it's just information at that point. I had one time I had a seller get an appraisal before they went on the market. They did it for another reason. They did it in order to pull some equity out to make their next move first. And they gave a really high opinion of the home, 1.25 million. And we priced it there and it didn't work. And it didn't work. It ended up selling for more than 250,000 below what that appraisal came in at. But of course, the appraiser wasn't going to make an offer. He was just looking at similar sales, but he didn't take into account things like, well, the home was somewhat dated. Buyers could find other homes that were more updated in that neighborhood that are willing to pay more. And if you get an appraisal that comes in low, it's not the end of the world. There is no database of appraisals out there. The public doesn't know about it. Sometimes you can just, go to plan B and get another appraisal and have it work out. I've had that happen before. And then we get the question a lot, why is my Zestimate, my Zillow opinion of value going down? And we don't know. They use some sort of math, what they call algorithm, which is basically they look at the homes around you. They don't look at value the same way an actual appraiser would. An appraiser looks at apples to apples, meaning has to be a ranch with a finished basement against a ranch with a finished basement. Zillow is just looking at the price per square foot around you and what's selling, what's not selling. And many times they don't take into factor some of the things that you've done to the home, like updates, views, improvements, location, all those kind of things could actually make a difference of up to $75,000 of value. And Zillow has no idea. So why they go up and down, it doesn't matter. They're not going to buy your house right now. And really the ultimate buyer, the most valid vote on your home's value is the buyer that makes an offer, not the county tax assessment and not the Zestimate for sure. So let's talk a little bit about what are things that might not help your home's value. A lot of people have a lot of assumptions about it. And just so you know, I went to appraiser school and passed, but to me, it was the most boring work. I couldn't stand it. It wasn't for me. I like sales. I like talking more than doing all the data crunching. But I do respect the profession. And now, because I went to that school, I know what they do. So they compare apples to apples. Okay. There is a probably 5% subjectiveness into the opinion of value. And sometimes they get it wrong. But in general, the things that improve value are updates, are views, are the condition. What is the condition of the counters, the quality? What about recent improvements? I have appraisers ask that all the time. Can you tell me what are the recent improvements of this home? Because I'm going to factor that in the value. Not so much on things like, you know, the age of the furnace, the age of the roof, and the age of the water heater. That doesn't factor in so much. It's more about what similar sales are representing and what those homes look like. And so a lot of buyers will ask me, so I updated my home, should it be worth more than the home next to me that's not updated? Yes, in most cases, absolutely yes, because a buyer would pay more for an updated home versus a not updated home. But at the end of the day, if the home is not updated, a lot of people think that, okay, if I go and I replace my old tired carpet or I replace my old appliances, that I'm going to tack on the dollar amount I spent on that improvement to the home's value. But it doesn't work that way. The gold standard is a home that's basically turnkey or move-in ready. So I'll give you an example. We had a house in a beautiful location in Briargate, and it had 20 years of wear and tear. It was new when I sold it, but after 20 years when I resold it, it needed a lot of love. And the seller got it done. It looked fabulous when it was done. He had to recoat the hardwood floors because there was all these traffic areas on it, replace the carpet. And then finding things to improve homes really depend on what kind of value that you have around you. What are similar homes selling for? Like as an example, on a high-end custom home, yeah, you don't really want to see vinyl floorings as much as you would want to see the more hard surfaces like real tile or real hardwood, that kind of thing. But you know, removing the only tub in the house could be a negative for some buyers. Some people knock out walls to make improvements. There's all kinds of things that we see. And adding things may or may not add value. Let me give you a really good example. A swimming pool or a tub probably does not, a hot tub in particular, does not add value. That tends to be a ball and chain for buyers, because if they don't want it, they have to get rid of it. Or adding weird things in a room that are built in, like a real bulky desk that, you know, takes up space. Adding carpet near water. So the builders used to do this all the time, Richard. They would do put carpet in the master bathroom, and oh my God, the buyers just, they don't like that at all, because it's not a place where you should have carpet. And, you know, in general, failing to make updates is a mistake and it could hurt your value. But this doesn't mean you have to have a full-on remodel. In general, make it neutral. Make sure the flooring is fresh. Price absolutely is a factor. Some people won't do any updates, and as long as they price it right and it's in good condition, it's going to sell. And you want to make sure you hire somebody to do those improvements. Landscaping is absolutely critical. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyers, and the host of the show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about what are some of the things that a home seller should do or maybe not do to improve their value. And when we come back, we're going to talk about more of that. Richard?
To find out more about how to hire the best team to find your next home, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or contact her at the website barbhasthebuyers.com. We're talking with Barb Schlinker about home improvements that could hurt a home's value. Some other things that home sellers need to know, Barb?
Well, absolutely. Curb appeal in the backyard are critical items that buyers are looking at. They don't want a project. Most of them don't want a project. So make it as nice as you can, as best you can, especially in the summer. Hot tubs, it's a maybe. If you're going to include it, it may not increase the value. All season rooms, like if you have a enclosed patio, stick a heater in there. You might be able to count it in the square footage. That's a good idea. Other things that might be really that you should think about, and I get this question a lot, and usually people are disappointed if they've gone in and they put solar power in the home. The assumption is if I pay 35,000 for a solar system, which is probably a low number these days, that the buyer's going to pay 35,000 more. And I know this is controversial, but the answer is no. We cannot prove that a buyer will pay more money based on similar sales if they put solar in their house. The buyers like it because they don't have high electric bills, but are they going to pay for it? I don't think so. They also don't pay for tankless water heaters and some of the quote inclusions. They just don't necessarily pay a premium if you're going to include things like a refrigerator and all that. But this is part of what we do. We give an in-home free consultation and tips on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. Plus, we're going to show you the buyers in our database that would be a high match for your home. And we'll show up with multiple cash offers. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, you and your team are the only company I would recommend to people out there who are thinking of selling their homes and downsizing to a smaller home. How can they get more information? Well, you call 719-301-3900. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program. And if you're thinking of making that big move, call Barb, 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about why most agents don't focus on marketing to sell homes, plus Barb's hot new listings. You want to hear that. There you go.
I know they hate me.
I don't know. Maybe there's an aspect of inside real estate that I don't get. I am, and I think it's a good thing. I am somebody who just doesn't know all this stuff. And therefore, I'm a lot closer to the home buyer or to the home seller than I am an inside real estate, agent or somebody who, just came out of getting their license or whatever. They did it during COVID and, now they're overcompensating because they're afraid. Oh, I'm dealing with Barb Schlinker.
Oh no, she's mean.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay. Let me take a sip here.
I'm not usually mean. It's just if you do something stupid, I'm not going to let you get by with it.
Well, you know what? And I have this every now and then where I just have to explain to somebody, if a person is advocating, that doesn't make them mean. It
Right.
means they're excellent at representing their client. And sometimes, if you have to deal with people sometimes, they're what turns the situation from being, oh, let's just work on this and get it done, as opposed to, well, you know what? Now you're going to try to yank me around a little bit. And you think that threatening to go to court is negotiating? I love that. I love that. I'm going to hold on to that for a long time.
It's just, what is wrong with these people?
It is.
My first reaction was, you need to talk to your broker. But then somehow she managed to pull it off. The story was that the seller couldn't comply with title. So we tried to get, keep the buyer in contract and gave her amendments, but our amendment was never good enough. She always had to change something. We finally just broke up middle of June. And then she's like, well, we still have a contract. I'm like, not in my world, we don't. I'm sorry, we didn't extend the contract. We gave you every chance to do it, and they wouldn't sign it. And oh no, because they couldn't perform, we're going to take you to court, And well, it turned out they could perform. It's just a mistake by title. But in the meantime, we're threatening and damages are escalating. I'm like, these people, they're putting 3% down. They're 23 years old. They don't know anything about lawsuits. I don't even think she's telling them this stuff. I really felt like it was just agent to agent engagement. So I don't believe for a minute her buyers were willing to do that. It was her opinion. Then she gets with her broker and they're quote corporate lawyers that say, oh yes, you're obligated because you couldn't perform. And I'm like, okay, none of you title work? Really?
Well, and I want to get us back on track here. I apologize. I talk too much, but I have to chime in with this. And that is, people don't understand. There are two groups of people that will always do whatever you want to do, and they will always be looking to generate more work for themselves. Those are expert witnesses and attorneys. An attorney is never going to say, yeah, don't bother, talking to me for, $100 an hour, $150 an hour, whatever. Yep. Yeah. Let's just talk about it. And I run the tab and I'm happy to do this day after day. Want to talk about filing a lawsuit? Hey, yeah, that's great. But when you get down to the clients, they're like, what the hell are you doing? I don't want to pay all of this money to threaten somebody. Can we just work this out? Lawyers screw up more deals than they save. I'm just absolutely, I believe that 100%.
And they're paid by the hour, not by
Yes,
the
paid
job.
by the hour.
So it's like, oh yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a lawsuit. And I was just like, oh my God. So even the broker was trying to bully me. Well, our corporate lawyer said you'll lose. And I'm like, yeah.
What's good is, you know what? Then they learn the lesson. They tell other people, oh, well, I'm going to sue Barb. It doesn't work. Just figure it out. That's all. That doesn't work with her. All right. I got the last segment. I'm ready to go.
Just one more note on that. I've had agents actually go to lawyers over a $200 used refrigerator. With most of them are charging $400 an hour.
Yeah. I was going to say, by the time you talk with a lawyer and run up an hour, you've already doubled the cost of the refrigerator. Jeez.
Yeah, they're crazy.
I truly do think, I know I'm going long now here, but I truly do believe that if the clients understood half of what goes on, they would understand, it's stupid to even call this guy up. I mean, you end up with a bill, and the idea that I can just pass it on to Barb in the negotiation, that doesn't work. So.
And I've made the mistake in my past life of being too pigheaded and spending money where I shouldn't have,
Yep.
in disputes. And now I know that's not, that you don't make money hanging out with lawyers.
All right, let's go. Count us down. You're good to go, Barb?
I'm ready.
DJ's ready. I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Real Estate. Now, Barb, I know we've discussed home staging and how to stage, but why do most agents not even, sorry.
My
You
bad.
said you said real estate instead of realty.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I didn't mind it.
Introduction.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do this then. Let me restart the clock here. Hang on. We'll just go from the very beginning. I'm trying to see. Oh, so what I did is I said real estate here and then again here.
Yes.
Okay. My mistake. Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program. And this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Realty. Now, Barb, I know we've discussed home staging and how to stage, but why do agents not even bother to stage a home for sale?
Well, I think some of it is lack of education, to be honest with you. According to the National Association of Realtors, only more than half of them don't bother to do anything to help the seller prepare. And you can see that when you look at the photos that are published online, you're like, oh my God, they didn't even pick up the dog toy in the middle of the living room, or it's just insane. And I ask clients all the time, have you seen any bad marketing photos on the internet? And they're all nodding their head, yes. That should never be happening, but some of them don't train on it. They don't focus on it. There is a cost to doing this, and they just don't want to invest the money in their listings. It's too bad. And it could be as little as $150. It could be as much as $4,000. The average cost for staging is about $1,400. And there's this common misconception out there that, hey, it doesn't matter what agent I use, they're a generic commodity. My house is going to sell, so I'll just go with the cheapest one. That'll get the job done. Well, I've talked to clients that went with the cheapest one. Oh, they're giving you a deal. And I said, 100% of what I always get this term wrong. Oh, I know what it is. So 5% of nothing is still nothing, right? So if they charge 5% or 4% or $1,000 or 1%, if they don't have a sale and they get nothing, then they've failed. They've failed in their mission to get the home sold. That's the goal, is to get the home sold, right? And I don't know why. They're just not, they don't, there's lots of training available out there. I just don't think they do it. And you can eventually lower a price enough and to get it sold with just about any agent. But I would say a majority of the home sellers that I work with, they want the most money when they sell. And it's been my experience that a lot of people will spend less than $100 a month on marketing, the ones in real estate. That's why most of them don't sell very many homes. A lot of them don't get enough what I call at bats. The industry is really, really bad at teaching things that they should know, like how to get customers, which is marketing, how to negotiate, how to handle objections, all these things, information about the sales process. They don't teach them the stuff that they really need to know. So I would say a majority of these agents just kind of think that, well, I have my license now. This business is just going to drop in my lap like sprinkle dust from the sky. And so what they end up doing is things like cold prospecting, like knocking on doors, which I would never do that, or calling or texting people randomly. The ones that actually do market, they spend the money for marketing, they do pretty well. So in my view, any business should have a marketing budget, but industry training is really not focused on marketing at all. Marketing for their own business, let alone marketing for the customer. And I've seen agents actually charge their clients to pay for the photography, which it says in all the agreements that the agent is supposed to pay for the marketing, but no, you got to pay for that. Which is insane. But if they don't properly present a home to the market, I don't care what kind of market it is not going to sell. This is an example I'm showing right now of a bathroom of a very low price condo. That condo should have flown off the shelf with multiple offers the first weekend solely because it was a very, very low price place. During the boom, this is the middle of August of 2021, and it wasn't selling for a $229,000 condo in Monument of all places, which is a more expensive place. There were no offers. Why not? Because the home was poorly presented. So when the buyers are looking at these properties on their phones, they just pass it by. Nope, nope. It had things like there was groceries on the kitchen counter. There was a backpack on the coffee table. In this bathroom I'm showing, there's a giant kitty litter box, and hanging next to it is kitty's toilet paper, plus all this clutter on top of the bathroom counter. Just the kitty litter box alone is enough to make buyers go, oh no, I don't want to be there. I'm allergic to cats. And of course, the listing agent is in the mirror in the bathroom. And so her solution was to tell the seller to lower the price during a boom market. That wasn't the problem. It was actually she didn't know anything about marketing. So they don't stage really because there's a lack of knowledge, or they don't know what staging items cost, or they don't know how to stage, or maybe they don't want to pay for storage, transportation. She could do it virtually, for God's sakes. And according to studies, a home seller will get anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 more on a home that's properly staged versus not staged. And so it's absolutely important how a home is presented to the market, because buyers are making their decision on whether or not they're even going to drive by that home based on the online presentation. You only have less than 57 seconds to make an impression. I just mentioned that I looked at a home yesterday that had 15 pictures of the outside before you even got to the inside. And I can tell you that if you have 57 seconds and they're looking for these inside pictures, if they don't find them after 15 photos, boom, they're moving on. They don't trust the listing. They think you're trying to hide something. They won't even look. And we can stage digitally, which is spectacular how quality it is. And it will actually attract buyers to come and see it, because if you look at an empty room, people that are not wired artistically, which I'm not one of those, if I look at an empty room, I can't figure out what room it is or what you can do with it. But people buy and sell things over emotion, right? How unemotional is an empty room? And to top it off, our local MLS mandates that if we digitally stage a room, we have to put the photos of the empty room online. So that's just an invitation to everybody to say, hey, I'm empty. Come check me out. Just last weekend, Richard, one of my listings got broken into because of that stupid rule. And fortunately, they didn't get inside the house. The seller had it secured pretty well. And fortunately, the seller had cameras and he had great neighbors and they were on top of it. And this guy got arrested in the act. But I would say that's not very common. And the problem is our local MLS has this dummy rule that says, oh, you have to put the vacant picture on there. Otherwise, you're false advertising. And yet it's just an attraction factor for people that might want to do something that's not up and up. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about why many agents don't bother to invest in marketing, either training or in marketing for their listings. And next up, what we're going to cover are some reasons that you should expect quality marketing from an agent if you're selling a home. And if not, in my view, it's malpractice and you should change. And you could fire them if you don't think they're doing what they said they're going to do. So if you are thinking of moving, this is part of what we do. We offer a free in-home consultation on what to do and what not to do to get a home ready for sale and how you can get top dollar. In just the past 2 weeks, I've had 2 of my listings have multiple cash offers, even with the inventory of surge of over 33% more competition on the market, because I know how to create demand, but not everybody trains for it. We have over 27,925 buyers in waiting just on my website. And typically we can match up to 700 buyers that are a high match for your home, and we will share it with those buyers. So if you'd like to get that free home consultation, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
We're talking with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, host of the program, and you can reach her at 719-301-3900. So, Barb, what are some solutions that you found that work for your clients with regard to staging?
Well, staging has different levels. It really depends on the home. Some people are going to present their home empty. That's fine. We can digitally stage it. Some people live in the home. That's fine. We can have a staging person come in and give a consultation on what to do and what not to do. I have a home right now that's under contract, that big home in a nice location. And he had, not ever done this before. And we brought in our in-home consultation, and she went room by room, pack this away, get rid of this, move this over here. So they know, because their eye is, the stager's eye is to try and get the right picture so we can present it to the market so the buyer wants to come and see the home. And so that's why it's really, really important to have your home properly presented, because too much furniture is probably one of the biggest problems. We have too much clutter, and people live with clutter. They get used to it. They don't notice it. It doesn't seem bad to them. Where it really jumps back at you is in the photos. Now, we know that buyers eliminate homes based on the photos. And many buyers really just can't visualize themselves looking at pictures of empty homes. And that's why we do it. We want to get the buyers in the door, and that's the way we actually get the most offers. So what does it cost? My clients don't pay a penny for it. It's included in my fee. We have 3 storage sheds full of staging furniture. We can bring pieces in to enhance it. Plus, we can work with your stuff, and we can also do the virtual staging thing. So those are some of the things that we do. Here's an example of going from a cluttered dining room to less clutter, just working with that seller's personal property. Here's one, a cluttered living room to a less cluttered living room. Here's a before and after of a townhome that, here we go, it's empty, it doesn't look very attractive, but then when we virtually stage it, it looks amazing. So those things are absolutely critical when you sell your home, and that's part of what we do. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, host of the program. And if you are thinking of making a move, call. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, you've got some hot new listings coming up. Before we go, tell us about them.
Absolutely. I have some great lot of lands this summer, which is kind of fun. They're not making any more of it. I have a beautiful property up on Lake George. It actually is 4 lots next to each other, right across from the lake. Great location. You could go up there. You could take your you have those little tiny homes, Richard, that you're representing. That'd be a
Yep.
perfect place for those. You could
That's
put
a
more
great
of them.
idea. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, so and rent them out. That's a very high tourist attraction location. I have a beautiful townhome in Briargate on Smoke Tree at 309. Fabulous single family home on Sanger Drive at 4349. A great home on 35 acres on Powers Road. A great 2-story with a finished basement on Crandall Drive, priced in the mid 4s. We also have 2 properties out in Peyton, one on Gull Lane at 719.9 with the main level master. Absolutely great multi-generational home with solar, 5 acres, fenced, cross fenced, great horse property, great for families, and another hobby farm on a Cowie Way. We also have a beautiful home on Chalet Lane at the edge of Black Forest, priced at $949,999. This home has a fabulous detached barn garage that has an RV bay, room for extra cars, room to put your mother-in-law. You can actually build a mother-in-law suite out there. And then I have more lots available up in Monument and down in Fountain. If you want to find out about those, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday at the new time, 11 o'clock, right after Larry Kudlow. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Remember, you can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers, or listen to the podcast on all of the podcast platforms, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, many, many others. Thank you for listening. And to reach Barb, call 719-301-3900. Have a great weekend, Barb, and be safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a great weekend as well.
There you go. That's a deal. Let's figure out a promo. And guys, I know it shoot up some time. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you guys understood me doing the daughter thing there. All right. How to sell for the most money when selling your home 2024. Do you really believe that Joe Biden is cognitive enough to sell a home? Would you let Jill Biden be your real estate agent?
Oh my God.
Would you let Christopher Wray do the inspections on your home? Would you trust Merrick Garland to take care of title insurance?
Can I do that?
That would be funny, wouldn't it? Let's see why most agents don't focus on marketing when they're selling homes. What home design improvements may not increase the value of your home? Top questions home sellers should ask before putting their home up for sale, or the most money thing. What do you think?
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think most money, or maybe the marketing?
I think those two are I'd go with the first one, because the word money, when it comes to talking about real estate, is always going to get people's attention. And whether it's making more money or selling for more or buying for less or whatever, I think that's always going to be a winning combination.
That's good advice.
All right. Because I mean, part of it is letting people know when the show is, but I think if you get them interested in, well, money, what? No, what's this all about? All right, headphones are off.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1. Your real estate voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday, 11 o'clock until noon, right after Kudlow, here on 740 KVOR. This weekend, Barb will be talking about how to sell your home for the most money. Is that short? That it feels like it might be short. Okay.
Sounded good. Okay, so I think we're back on track for a normal schedule next week.
Sounds like a plan. I would just caution you that there's actually not very much that's normal about you, Barb. So just
That's true.
a little heads up on that, lest you
That's-
make that mistake talking to other people and try
That's
to
a
pull off
fact.
the normal thing.
Yeah, there's no such thing as normal.
I think I'm getting in a mood here because now it's starting to feel like I have a day off tomorrow. So, all right, you guys have a good
You
time.
get
And
Friday off or not?
nope, I'll be here. Actually, DJ is going to be producing for me on Friday. But I wanted to ask how your son is.
He's doing great. We drove home yesterday from California, got the place ready for rent, and he left this afternoon on a flight going out to Florida to visit his friend for celebrate 4th of July through the weekend.
Nice.
Then he'll come back. So
Nice.
he's doing good. He's strong, man. He doesn't like missing a workout. He looks like the Incredible Hulk, you know. I wish I could do that for me, but
You know, I'll say one thing. When I was younger, I didn't quite understand Marines. You know, Army guys over here, Marines over here, their uniforms are kind of different colors or something like that. Then
right.
you get a little bit older and you get a little bit wiser and you start finding out, I mean, they were the ones hitting the beaches in the Pacific. I mean, man, it's a big deal. And I try to explain that to people because I don't want them to be, and it's not that there's anything wrong with Army or whatever, but Marine's a whole other thing. And he sounds like he is the epitome of it.
Yeah, he was a little disappointed because he was supposed to go to one job in the Chesapeake and then they've already changed the job and the location. So he's like, oh, he thought he was going to go back into the same admin role that he's had for the last
Oh,
8
yeah.
months. And
All right.
he's not an admin guy, so we'll see.
I was
But-
going to say that would be like you being somebody who just sits at a desk day after day after day.
Oh no, I can't take it.
I know.
So,
All right, you guys take care and be safe. We'll talk to you next week.
all right, happy 4th.
Yep,
Thank
you too.
All right, bye-bye.